Hey guys, it's Phil here from Random Shit, Random Guy, and we are here to break down UFC Freedom 250 from the White House lawn in Washington, D.C. We're going to talk about some of the things that we loved and some of the things that we hated on this card. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who watched the fights live with us. That's right, we had a live stream, 5 hours, 15 minutes worth, if you want to get exact, of this whole day of the fights, starting from the rain delay to the national anthem, kicking off with the Diego Lopez defeating Steve Garcia, and ending the night with a new American champion. And we're going to break down the three things we loved, the three things we hated. But I wanted to thank you guys who did stick with me this weekend and watch and say, you're a real one. Thank you very much. And if you haven't and want to go back and check that out, go check it out. We also had a pop-in guest from Mayhem Media to talk with us during the fights as well. So there is something extra to look forward to in our White House 250 watch along, watch party, whatever you want to call it. So check that out. But before you do, like this video, hit subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And more importantly, share this with your friends and family. We are so close to hitting 800 subscribers. It's not even funny. We want to push to 1,000 by July 4th. That is our goal. I want to be over 1,000 subscribers when we're watching Conor McGregor walk into the Octagon on July 11th in Las Vegas, Nevada against Max Holloway. But that's not what we're here for. Let's get into the top three things I loved about UFC Freedom 250. Starting at number 3, I loved that this card was 100% completion rates. It was a 7-fight card. I love the fact it was a 7-fight card. That is in my honorable mentions. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I loved that out of 7 fights, we got 7 completions. And we got 7 knockouts. Now you're saying, how did this card last 5 hours? Well, we'll talk about that and things we didn't love. But I love the fact that we kicked off the card with Diego Lopez coming out strong in the second round and ending the fight in a knockout. I love that in the next fight we had Bo Nickel defeating Kyle Dukakis via another knockout. You guessed it, with 4 minutes and 34 seconds. This one I didn't love because I hated seeing Michael Chandler look so bad in this fight. But I did love the fact that we ended it in a finish when Marcifio Rufi defeated Michael Chandler. Continuing the things I didn't love, I didn't love seeing Derek Lewis look that bad in the fight, but I did love the fact that Josh Hokett did end it in a knockout. I loved the fact that Sean O'Malley was able to knock out Aheem Zabib. I loved the fact that Alex Pereira, I didn't love the fact that Alex Pereira lost, but I did love that we ended for the interim heavyweight championship in a knockout as Ciryl Gane defeated Alex Pereira in a controversial finish, which we will talk about in the things I didn't love. And then I loved Justin Gaethje defeating Ilia Topuria. This whole night of fights, amazing. I loved the action in the octagon. That is the one thing that was not talked about coming into this event. You did not have very many people pushing the whole narrative of the fights. It was the political aspects, the event as a whole. The media was not talking about, hey, Ilia Topuria could become the GOAT, or Alex Pereira could become a 3-time champion, or hey, we might not end this night with an American with their hand raised. Those are all things that were not discussed coming into this event and should have been, but I'm glad coming out of this event that we had amazing action, and that is what people should be talking about coming out of this card. Number 2. The number 2 thing I loved about this card, Justin fucking Gaethje. I will admit, like others, I doubted this motherfucker. I did not think Justin Gaethje was going to get the job done, but boy, did he ever. He come out strong in that first round, and he looked great. Ilia Topuria come back solid in that second round, and then the third round, Gaethje pretty much what I assume broke the orbital of Ilia Topuria, and against his against doctor's judgment, went back out for the fourth, and his family threw in the towel for him. That being said, holy shit, the whole Justin Gaethje experience is my number two thing. I loved how, love it or hate it, the White House, it was there. They used it so damn good on this Justin Gaethje walkout. You start with him, he doesn't even realize the cameras are on him, and he's just sitting there staring at the Declaration of Independence and just reading it. And he walks out of the Oval Office and down the hallway of presidents, and he's just stopping to stare and look at all this American history as he's going to the ring. And the music's playing, the There Ain't No Grave Gonna Hold My Body Down, as this might be the last fight for Justin Gaethje. As of this recording, we still don't know if he's planning on coming back, but all that, and it was such a fucking beautiful walkout all the way, and he gets in the octagon and puts on the performance of a fucking lifetime to have his hand raised as the American champion, walking out of this amazing event. Something I personally did not expect. I expected Ilia Topuria to knock him out just like he did Max Holloway and so many others before him. But Justin Gaethje fought the best fight of his career in what might be his last fight of his career. Fingers crossed it is not. But Justin Gaethje coming out, raising his hand, an American winning. The one thing I've been pushing is I wanted American fighters to look strong on this card. And boy, the fuck did he. As Justin Gaethje walked out, the new light heavyweight champion of the fucking world. No, you can take that interim title that he held and throw it in the fucking trash. He is the undisputed American United States of America heavyweight or light heavyweight champion of the world. That's right. My man Justin Gaethje comes in at the number 2 spot. And you're thinking, well, if the fights are number 3 and Justin Gaethje's number 2, what the fuck did he love more than that? My number one thing I loved about the UFC Freedom 250 at the White House, the United States Marine Corps Band. That's right. I'm giving it up to the fucking troops. Those guys was great from start to finish, with them starting, with All Hail the Chief, all the national anthem, and I thought, well, that's it, we're done. We're not gonna get any more from them. Why are they here? They're a great backing piece. I'm sitting here listening to the first walkout for I think it was Steve Garcia, who goes to the octagon first, and I'm like, that song doesn't sound like it normally would. And it takes me 3 fucking fights before I'm like, holy shit, the Marine Corps Band has been playing all this fucking music. It was amazing. The mariachi style music, them playing Ain't No Grave Gonna Hold My Body Down. Hell, even Sean O'Malley's entrance was probably the second best entrance of the night. Hell, they even put up, they lit the fireworks off for this motherfucker. It was amazing. That was the Marine Corps Band playing, I want to say they had to learn 14 songs just for this event. The President's Marine Corps Band, salute to you. You're the real one of this fucking fight. That was amazing. And you come in at number 1 on the 3 things I loved about this fight. Now, I did have some honorable mentions I wanted to talk about. Honorable mention, number 1, the Sean O'Malley entrance, which I just talked about. Fucking loved it. I also loved, I'm just going to throw this in as a whole. I loved the production of this event. The lighting, it did not look like we were outside. It looked like we were in an arena. I mean, that claw did its fucking job. It looked like we were in a stadium show right there. The lighting on the fights look amazing. I've watched wrestling events in the outdoors from all different companies, and you can tell we're outdoors, especially as the sun changes. You could not tell that the sun was even going to change, set, anything, which there wasn't much sun due to the rain. That being said, the production value on this, fucking A+. They knocked it out of the park. Didn't make my top 3, but it is very important. I also love the use of the Apex, which I'm going to include into the production. I loved that you would fly from, the White House into that, and they had camera shots from the Apex to the White House. Production value on this event, A+. Event as a whole, A+. I really enjoyed it. As much as I talked about things I loved, let's talk about 3 things I did not like on this card. This one was... I have mixed reasons why I don't like the 3 things that I like. I don't like on this card. My number 3 thing I want to talk about that I did not like from UFC Freedom 250 at the White House is a dual thing together. And that is the lack of MMA talent. Not only MMA fighters as a whole, but current and past UFC fighters' presence not being recognized. I also did not like the Tyson Fury walkout. So I'm going to throw all of that together to talk about that together. I thought it was a big miss to not have fighters, either Max Holloway or Conor McGregor, which Conor was in Ireland. He's in New York now. But the fact that you did not have someone promoting the July 11th event or any event coming up in the next couple weeks at the fight, cage side, other champions, like this event showcased the UFC and what it can be. And it shows when the UFC cares, they care. But this event did not help move the sport forward, in my opinion, in the fact that you didn't introduce your other champions to a new audience. You didn't... you were more worried about promoting Zuffa boxing, in my opinion, than you were about promoting the UFC fighters. And yeah, you can say, oh, well, the limited spaces. But you had Conor Benn at this fight and showed him on the camera. You gave Tyson Fury a walkout just to say, I'm not talking. And then you made John Anik look like an asshole because John Anik's like, hey, what about this or that? And he says nothing. So, what was the purpose in Tyson Fury being there other than being a flex to be like, hey, not only is he going to be a TKO fighter, but he's also in the United States. We got him in the United States when him, his dad, and his brother are banned from the country. That's what we did. And not only did we get him in the country, we have him at the fucking White House. So fuck you to anybody who thinks otherwise. That's how I felt about Tyson Fury being there. Looking back, that's how I felt about Conor Benn being there. There was other boxers there as well. But you did not see one UFC legend there. You did not see... You have a good relationship with Chuck Liddell. He's not there. You don't have Forrest Griffin. You don't have the guys who built this sport to get us to this point. You didn't even show them in a video package of your... and I get it. The video packages were celebrating the country, and they did not do a good job at that. But that being said, my number 3 thing that I hated about this card is the lack of presence of UFC fighters past and present. You have a Hall of Fame ceremony coming up in 2 weeks. You couldn't have brought out any of those guys. If they weren't paid to be there, they weren't there. And that, I think, was a miss. And that's the number 3 thing I hated about this card. Number 2. You come into this fight saying you can't advertise. So you're going to lose money. But that was a lie. You did have advertising. You're on federal ground. You're not supposed to have advertising. You do have advertising. There's the monster can in the middle of the octagon. You had Scott's there. The Scott's advertisement and the monster advertisement, they don't really bother me. It's the fact that you say, one, you're not, legally you're not supposed to be advertising other companies, which this whole thing was an advertisement on federal ground. Like, this is the people's property. This isn't that. I don't want to get into that. I mean, this argument I'm getting ready to make is going to kind of get into that, but what I'm trying to say is I don't have as much problem with Scott advertising. They're fixing the fucking lawn for free after this. So, like, I say free, but you know what I mean. Scott is the ones who's fixing the White House lawn after this event. Monster was at the Apex giving out free drinks. The advertisement I didn't like. You have preached that this event is not political. It wasn't political the whole time. We're not political. We don't have a political relationship. The first fucking advertisement you see on the cage when fighters are walking around is for Truth Social. You have the fight bonuses getting paid out through World Liberty Finance. You have a very dark, and this comes from me, Department of War advertisement during the fights. Like, why do you feel that if you didn't want this to be a political event, why do you have two of Trump's businesses being advertising sponsors of the event? You literally said, the next fight brought to you by Truth Social and World Liberty Finance. If you don't know World Liberty Finance, it's the crypto company that Trump and his family owns that gave a donation to the bonuses for the fights. So, like, if you don't want this to be political, then go apolitical. You could have done that. You could have pulled this whole event off. Your ads weren't, your video packages weren't that partisan. Hell, I thought they would be worse. I'm not going to lie. I thought this was going to be a lot more Trump ass kicking. It wasn't. I'm very thankful for that. But if you wanted this to be an apolitical event, which we all knew it wasn't, but if you wanted it to look like it, you shouldn't have had advertisements for the Department of War. You shouldn't have had Truth Social on the fucking mat and on the octagon cage. You shouldn't have been using them as preventing sponsors, and I get it. Those are why Trump wanted you to be there. You're advertising his shit. That's why he wanted it. This was your thank you for getting him in office, and that's what he used it for. That's the number two thing. And you're thinking, that's your number two? What's worse? The number one thing I hated about UFC Freedom 250 was Josh Hokett. Josh Hokett is an amazing fighter. Josh Hokett could be in line for a title shot. He is 10-0. He's never lost a fight. But I hate how Josh Hokett conducts himself. Coming into the fight, I was complaining last week about Josh Hokett and his Krusty Krab pizza bullshit. And like him even being like, oh, it's not working what I'm having to say. Then don't do it. And then you go and disrupt a press conference at the Lincoln Memorial by being an asshole and interrupting everybody's answers and trying to start a fight with Ilya Taporia, someone who weighs 155 pounds when you weigh 240, someone you're never going to fight. You have a 100-pound weight difference above. Why are you starting shit with him and talking shit about every fighter on this card that you're not fighting? If you want to talk about Ciryl Gane and how much you like him, cool. If you want to talk shit about Alex Pereira, cool. He's in the heavyweight division. But you're trying to start a fight at the fucking Lincoln Memorial with someone not even in your weight class, someone you're not going to fight, something that's not going to help this fight, promote this fight, nothing. Did not like that. And then it's time for the weigh-ins. When the weigh-ins come, he shows up acting like he's fucking drunk and spitting like baby food out of his mouth so it looks like he's puking at the weigh-ins. Like, how fucking you're disrespecting the card, the company, everything. And then when you get done, you win. You're like, I'm not going to do the shit. And you think, thank you. We're going to get a real Josh Hokett interview. And then he does all the wow, thank you, kisses Trump's ass. And then he's like, starts talking shit about Pereira. And then Pereira's mom, which, whatever, fair game. It's the fight business. All is good in love and war. And then he makes the Michelle Obama comment calling her a man at the White House. It was so unnecessary. Joe Rogan's pulling the mic back from him at that point. Like, This piece of shit is so unclassy, and he's getting exactly what he wants. He's getting it from me right now. He just wants you to talk about him. He doesn't give a fuck if you talk about his fighting. He just wants you to talk about him, and that is very upsetting to me. Dana White was not happy about it. Dana White's even had to talk to People Magazine about the comment, and it gave fuel to people who didn't give a shit about MMA to only talk about his one comment, and that sucks. That sucks for everyone involved, to be honest with you. And that is my number one thing I hated about this fight. There was some more honorable mentions. I'll save any more talk about the fights for this Thursday's podcast, where we will get back to talking wrestling. I promise. But I did want to let everybody know, if you're a UFC fan, like this page, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're going to be talking about Conor McGregor this week. We're going to be talking about the UFC Hall of Famers coming up over the next couple weeks. I'm going to do a video on just like who's going in, why they're going in, that sort of thing. At least until July 11th, this page is going to be covering some MMA. It's going to be covering wrestling. I promise I'm getting back to wrestling talk. So like the page, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, hey, check this motherfucker out. Let's get him over 1,000 subscribers by the time Conor McGregor walks into the cage to fight Max Holloway at UFC. I don't even know the fucking numbers. I just know the date. On July 11th in Las Vegas, Nevada. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you let me know in the comments. What's the 3 things you liked about the fights? 3 things you hated about the fights? Let me know your feelings on the card as a whole in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.